Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Sanctum Sanctorum Showdown set, and the set itself may contain some spoilers for the Infinity War movie, so if you don't want any spoilers for that movie, be sure to not watch videos like this that are about Infinity War stuff. Also, please be sure to check out the pinned comment on the video before you comment yourself. Now the building, I would say, is almost as nice as it looks at first glance. This was given a lot of care in its design, almost on the level of the Creator Expert modular building. It's got a new print for the window up there, and a lot of texture and detail and changes of subtle colors, so it looks pretty realistic, with just a very modest number of stickers that are used, I think, just where they're needed. Only the left half of the building is dedicated to the Sanctum Sanctorum itself, with this right half representing the building where Peter Parker has his apartment, and that is situated above Pepe's Pizza with the very Lego-ified sticker and branding. There's also a little bit of side street or alleyway here with a few little references built into that with the help of the stickers, and you get a number of web elements with a combination of stickers and physical items, and I need to show you how some of those actually work with action features. For example, this web up here can be grabbed onto by a figure and then pulled down, which causes the window at the front to break out, and you can knock a bad guy off that way. This doesn't really qualify as an action feature per se, but you can bring the second fire escape ladder down, and this is one of the better looking and better working fire escapes I think that LEGO has put onto a building, because it's pretty simple to actually just place a figure there without even having them set up too perfectly. They don't get attached to anything, but they give you plenty of space to put a figure there. You can also attach hands to these bars really easily. It looks good, and I think it works well for play. This one's pretty clever and useful, I think. You can place a figure just right here, and there's a button that you can push from behind on the roof that will push that figure off, and then he's attached on the web there, and that web can let him down. They've actually integrated this winch system for this string into the water tower up there. So the water tower is where the web gets connected, and you can actually pull your figure back up if you want to show him kind of climbing. It does take a second to do that because you do need to turn it quite a bit, but it's nicely integrated. You can just leave off that web piece if you want, and if you just let go, it kind of lets him down slowly, which is fun to watch. Down at the ground level, there's also a second window that can be blown out by just pushing in another one of these buttons. Just push that straight, and out it pops. Here's the thing that's not so great about this set, though. It's the depth. It's very thin as viewed from the side. I mean, it's pretty impressive from here, and it's the full length of an entire base plate, plus just a little bit if you include the corner bit. But from the side, I mean, you mostly have just a 6-stud width, including the front fascia and the wall there. So not that much real substance to it behind. However, they did make the best use, I feel, that they possibly could of that room, and you can put figures into pretty much every one of these individual rooms and spaces here. Starting again on the Sanctum Sanctorum side, this is the lobby, the ground floor entrance with a sticker with a scroll on the wall over there, and just a couple of weapons. I like that little classic seat there, because it's built with a kind of preformed Lego chair piece in its base, and then they do brick building around that for a little bit of a hybrid thing. There's the second floor up above, and this actually has an action feature built into the bookcase there. There's a little bit of a hiding space. More weapons, a chest that can be opened that has even more weapons still, with a couple more daggers or fighting knives there. I like the selection of stickers throughout this set. They're really well done, I think, and appropriate and tasteful. I'm actually going to come back to the action feature for the bookcase. I'll get to that later. And here's the topmost room with a couple more bookcases on the sides. Got a skull there. It looks like they don't have the brand new candle mold available just yet, or they surely would have used that. But given the amount of space that is here, I think that they did a good job of kind of getting the feel of the place and still leaving some open studded area on the floor, again, to put some figures in there. There's not much room on the roof of the Sanctum Sanctorum to pose figures, but you can put them on there just 1 foot at a time, so you can have a little bit of a confrontation like that, or you can have them facing outward towards you for the sake of display, out towards the street or in either direction. So it's good enough, but I personally prefer to have more space like they have here over Peter Parker's apartment. That's much better. The water tower build is a little bit flimsy in how it's attached, given just how it's kind of extended up from the base and has the frictionless pin connections there. But like I said, the windlass function does work really nice for play with the wind up long string that's done in white there with the studs at either end. And then down below we get to the interior of the apartment. I think this is the first time they've done a bed exactly like this, using the new 2x3 tiles. So you get a 3-stud wide bed, which gives you a little more usable space, and having no studs on there means that it's easier to just place a figure there. There's a look at the sticker with some things attached to Peter Parker's wall. And there's actually an action feature in this open space with a trap door there, and there's a knob on the front of the building that you just pull out, and then that will fall through. Here's the room below with a couple cardboard boxes. Only the top one has a sticker on it. I think this is the first time LEGO has tried to make one of those old Macs in one of its sets. I might be mistaken on that, but the sticker looks really good there for the screen and the kind of all-in-one encasement, but I don't like the build as viewed from the side. It's just completely open, and then it also overlaps the keyboard there. But this is a nice level of detail, a nice number of little things to fit into such a small space. You also have the drawing there for the costume, and they have a sticker up on the wall with a map and a bunch of notes on that as well. Lastly, here's the interior of Pepe's Pizza with the pizza oven on the left that has an opening that's large enough to actually fit an entire pizza pie inside of it. That's nice. They give you one full pizza pie in this set and officially two slice pieces. That large brown thing there is a meat spit for the meat for shawarmas, and you can see the shawarma on the menu up there above, and you have just a little checkout register and a fire extinguisher. There are always fires in universes like this, so this allows maybe a citizen to help themselves rather than always having to call upon the superheroes. Now, these buildings aren't really supposed to be directly next to each other like this, and that's why you see a couple of hinges there to allow you to do like this, to separate things out and to create some space in your imaginary play world. And that still allows you to access everything from the interiors, but it really creates these individual buildings now that look pretty good. And you even get a little bit of detail on the space that was covered up previously. So that's nice that they put the extra pieces in there, a little bit of extra effort to make that not look completely plain in that area that oftentimes will be covered up. But this is a pretty good look right here, and you can also just close the entire thing up all the way to make it into one solid building, and just imagine that they're on parallel streets, and this doesn't look half bad itself. They have the height exactly the same between the two, so they kind of merge together pretty well top to bottom. A little bit of change of color is not bad. The overall styling is pretty good, and it's just I think a decently displayable thing. So now that I've closed this up like this, I do need to show you, or now that I've shown you that this can be closed up, I do need to show you the last action feature in the center floor of the Sanctum Sanctorum. It works by turning this gray knob here, and it only works when the whole building is folded at least 90 degrees in. This is another feature that blows out a window. However, it also reveals the Time Stone. That is, of course, one of the Infinity Stones, or gems, and they've not embedded it into the Eye of Agamotto here just because, well, they wanted to have all of the stones individually presented so you can collect those and then put them into the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, with any set that includes an Infinity Stone, you get a full sprue of 4 of them. So if you happen to lose one, you're not out of luck. This is nice, kind of built-in replacement parts and/or spares to make your own stuff. Speaking of which, this set includes 2 full sets of the power blast and splat pieces that allow you to set up dynamic kind of comic style scenes with your figures. So identical sets of orange and trans light blue, and all these pieces will attach to figures in various ways because they have bar-sized attachment points on them. And you put them in hands, you can attach them to legs, and just do whatever you want with them, how you choose. I love these pieces. I think they are great for fans of all ages for multiple reasons, play and display. Looking at the figures, here's Doctor Strange with the soft style cape piece for the base, but the collar is the harder, more papery style to give it that nice crisp pop to it. His hands have accessories that allow all of those power blast and splat pieces to be conveniently attached as he works his magic. He's got the white paint applications on the hair there, and looking around the back, it's pretty easy to see the back torso print thanks to that nice cloth piece. It's pretty well detailed, but it's very subtle with the black against the dark blue for most of it, so a lot of lighting conditions won't really show that all that well. And then he also has his second face, and there's how that looks in comparison, so just a little bit more serious while he's actually fighting. Iron Spider comes with his own white-colored Spider Blast pieces, and these are the ones that will actually fire off from the hands by just squeezing in back here. Off that goes. Those work pretty well. You see printing on the arm. It's printing on the other arm as well. I think that arm printing looks pretty good. It's kind of a shame they didn't go with the dual molded legs here, though. I think you really, really, really could have benefited from those to get that dark blue coming down the side of the leg. Between the two, between arm printing and dual molded legs, I probably would have gone for dual molded legs. At least the quality of the printing here is really good. It's really sharp. You can just see the depth of the ink, you know, that's actually on it for the raised areas of the black that's printed on there, and the gold is nice and opaque. And interestingly, that's a cool piece that they used for the back to hold the arms on there. It just, or are they called legs? I think you consider those to be arms still. It's just nice and compact. Holds everything in real close. They don't stick out too far towards the rear. They don't droop down too much. I think it makes sense to use a specialized piece for that rather than using the standard brackets and then brick building on top of that. And, you know, gives you decent range motion so you can bring those forward. And if you want, you could imagine these tips firing off. You could even place something into the end of this old Exoforce arm on each of the arms there. But printing on the back of the head, of course, and then nice printing actually on the back of the torso. It's too bad you don't see that most of the time, but I think this is something that a lot of people would like to see. So leaving off the rest of the suit is something that I would recommend if you want to be able to appreciate this extra design. Tony Stark himself is up to Mark 48 now in his suit series for Iron Man. A little bit more organic looking here. I do like that style. It's a little bit different. You know, it's taking things in a little bit different direction, away from the purely mechanical. Looks a little more alien this time around. I think that LEGO did a pretty good job here. I especially appreciate the print for the tips of the boots. I don't know why. There's something about that that's important to me. And then the visor is done really well. The visors, the eyes, you know, they're lined, which makes that look, again, nice and crisp. Just has really good definition, even from quite a distance. It makes it look more alive and more glowing. Got a little bit of print on the top there as well, a couple more paint applications. The piece that his feet are attached to is one of those new 1x2 rounded plates, and so those have holes in them so you can stick the power blast pieces all the way through, and the small translucent or transparent light blue pieces that are down below are also hollow. And there's the normal Tony Stark expression, but then this is a new headpiece for him that shows the heads-up display, you know, as the camera looks at him. It has some scratches in it, and it's a little bit awkward that they did put down the full white base coat behind that, so it looks like it's extra bright and pale. I don't know if that could have been done better. Oftentimes I do complain when they don't put down enough primer, but I don't know. I don't know if this was the ideal way, but you see what they were going for at least. And when he does have the helmet on and you just pull up, in the front, kind of see what I feel is wrong about that, because it should have kind of a dark background. And here it just looks really pasty. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. If you think it should have been darker as the base, or if you appreciate the lighter color being used there as kind of a primer to help bring out some of the details. And this is Ebony Maw. He kind of looks like a combination of Snape and Voldemort in the face, but I think that Lego has done a pretty good job of making the face look pretty skinny, even though it's just using the same standard size and shape of head mold there. The color is light aqua that they used for that, and there are different ways they could have gone with that, but it's creepy and alien. I appreciate that. I like the printing on the torso. The hips and the legs, they line up really well. The legs could have used just a little bit more opacity, to make those a little bit lighter, but at least the hips are lined up really well and kind of help to tie things together. He comes with his own yellow colored Power Blast pieces. No alternate face for this one because he doesn't have headgear on. Good print around the back of the torso that just kind of matches pretty well. Yeah, I think this is well done for what it is. I think the color of the head, the base color, is something that's debatable, but this is one of the possible good choices I think they could have made. And finally, here's Cull Obsidian. And let me tell you the things that I like first. I like the molding for the head. And I also like the molding for the single pauldron on his right, our left there. I guess I also like the builds for his dual weapons. Those also use the relatively new 1x2 rounded plate pieces to good effect. Give you a little bit different shape there. Looks like a pretty fun thing to play with. It's really designed, I think, to capture the imaginations of kids with a very evil look and a very menacing stance. What I don't like, I also like the subtlety of the difference between these two colors. I'm not sure if that's fully intentional or if those were trying to match, but I think it actually looks better that way. But I do think the body looks a little bit plain to me, with the gray just going straight through it. I don't know. Maybe it looks better on camera and from this lower angle, but just interacting with the figure in person as I was putting the weapons together and everything, just looks a little bit lacking to me, especially because most of the time you're going to be seeing it kind of from above. It really looks down quite a lot. And also, as always, big figs have very limited articulation, so you just can move the arms up and down, and you can rotate the wrist in and out. That works fine for what it is, but I wish they could do something else as well. That's your Sanctum Sanctorum Showdown. And I would rate this set overall similar to the Bridge Battle set, I believe it was, that really good half a bridge Spider-Man set that they made. In terms of the overall size, level of detail, displayability, and also playability. There's a lot of good stuff for playing here. I think the figures overall are pretty good. They're not necessarily great, and certainly there are some debatable individual design decisions that were made there, but I think the number of them is fair. The cast of characters is good, is pretty strong. I think they could have added in an employee down here, or just a regular citizen, to kind of sweeten up the deal a little bit more and to bring it more into a real setting, a supposedly realistic setting. But a lot of people, I'm sure, are going to buy this set to get the building mostly and to display that building, and it has a lot of appeal for both kids and adults and collector types because it just looks really good from the outside. Definitely thin, but again, they made pretty good use of the space that's within here for the sake of play, and the fact that it can all be easily hinged around, I think is going to allow it to look better than it ought to in many places, because you can always put it into that corner sort of setup to make it look bigger than it really is, or you can just close the thing up entirely and then it looks equally good from all angles. So there were a lot of compromises here, and I think that most of them are good and positive and add to the overall effect of everything together and make for a good result for the number of pieces and the ultimate price for it. One other thing I guess I forgot to mention is that a lot of these things can be attached to, so these exposed studs and also the jumper pieces they used here. You can put hands on these things, you can put feet on these things, you can even attach the blast and splat pieces to make it look like things are being hit in real time. So I don't know how much of that was intentional. I feel like probably some of it was, but it's another positive note for this set. That's it for my thoughts though. Again, please be sure to check out the pinned comment before you comment yourself, and I'll be talking to you again soon because my next video is on the way.